Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, a Wednesday, and I'm making my video a little late as usual. I'm supposed to get started earlier, and I'm actually on break right now, so I didn't do bad in my classes. I didn't do bad. It's been hectic, but now I get a slight breather and can kick back, relax, do my thing, do my thing, whatever that may be. Just do my thing, and not worry about anything, or anyone, or what's going on. I can relax. For a change, which is nice for me. I like relaxing. But you know me, I can't relax. Can't relax for even 5 seconds. I don't have the ability to relax, so I can't relax. My mind's always going. I'm always thinking. So what is this video about today? Well, I've told you in the past that I don't believe in astrology, okay? I really didn't. I really didn't believe in astrology, and I thought it was a fraud. I thought it was phony. I thought it was fake. I thought there was no significance to it. But part of the reason why I didn't believe in astrology was because I felt that, well, how can the stars impose their influence upon us? We have total free will. So it's like a refutation of free will to say that there's such a thing as astrology, or that astrology is real. Okay? And another thing that persuaded me was that I didn't see the interpretations. I didn't like the interpretations of my birth chart. Okay? I didn't like the interpretations. The birth chart was, I didn't see the significance. I owned some astrology books, to be honest with you, and I knew everything there was to know about astrology up till that point in time, okay? And we're talking about like maybe 93, 94 here, where I stopped believing in astrology. I didn't like the interpretations, and they had no significance for me, and I didn't like them. I didn't like the interpretations at all, and I thought, this isn't me, this doesn't sound like me, I don't think there's any validity to this. Well, I've gone back and looked at my birth chart again, and looked at some of the more in-depth analyses available online now. And when I look at the more in-depth analyses available online now, yeah, I can see some of the significance, like things that I didn't even think would be significant in my chart. Things that I didn't think were important before and didn't mean anything to me. They had no meaning for me, and I just thought they were insignificant or had no meaning. They're beginning to come into clarity and beginning to look as if those things are actually quite significant in my life, and explains some of the problems I've had, mental health problems. I've had lots of mental health problems. It explains the homelessness, the losing my inheritance and all the things that belong to me, the years of deprivation, the years of insanity. It explains it all. It's pretty, and you know, it is true that you can make a chart fit the person. That you can say, well, this may be true of this person, and this may be true of that person based on their chart. That, I don't know, it just, you can impose your will on a birth chart and interpret it however you want to help explain your life, to make it fit, to make the evidence fit and say, well, there is some validity to astrology. And I can see that that happens and that it's a bad thing, that it's not a good thing. I can see that. And I could see it then when I rejected astrology. And I'm all for science. I love science. And of course, astrology is considered a pseudoscience. It falls in the realm of religion crossing the physical, which is the realm of science, is the physical. So it's the religious crossing the physical. But, astrology it really is a religion in a way. Even though it's a pseudoscience, it's sort of a religion because people believe in it so strongly. So what am I here to bring you news of today? Well, today I am going to discuss with you the Age of Fire. That is the theme of today's video, is the Age of Fire. Now I'd like to create a little prelude. I'd like to explain this to you, alright? It's just a few things that I want to explain. Okay, when Uranus was in Aquarius, when Uranus entered Aquarius, very first thing that happened when Uranus entered Aquarius was that I became extremely ill. I was so ill, I was on my deathbed. I was so ill. No one knew what was wrong with me. No one could find a cure for me. And no one believed me. That was Uranus in Aquarius. And they still don't believe me even to this day. These doctors are skeptics and don't believe that you have an illness, which is sick. They want proof, like you're dying. That's the proof to them that you're sick, is that you're dying. If you just tell them your symptoms, they don't believe you. They don't believe you until they see physical evidence that they can examine and ascertain for themselves that it's true. Even if you did have evidence, they either don't have access to that evidence or don't believe the evidence and don't believe that you're really sick. So these doctors can be bastards. They say kill all the lawyers. Well, maybe it's kill all the doctors. Because doctors, they don't care if you're dying unless you're actually almost dead. They could see you dying. Then they believe. And then they race to try to figure out, and usually by then it's too late because they're skeptic minds, right? Because they're scientists. Science isn't very holistic, and it's not. I had to go to holistic doctors at the time. It's not very holistic, and it's not very understanding of. They're not humanitarians. They don't care about people as much as they care about science. They love science more than they love people's lives. So they oftentimes let people die, and that's medical negligence, and they do it every day because of science, because they're scientists. So science can be quite negligent in its philosophy. Show me the proof. Show me the proof. Oh, there's the proof. Oh, you're dead already. Oh, I'm sorry. It was medical malpractice. Go ahead and sue me, but I'll just do it to the next victim because I'm a scientist. And it was better to not diagnose someone at all and let them die than to misdiagnose them. Notice that, because that protects them from liability, right? And they don't even know the reason behind that themselves. They don't know the reason. Nobody taught them in medical school. They just follow what they were told in medical school, which was don't misdiagnose, ever. Don't misdiagnose. Always make sure that it's based in science. Even if don't believe the testimony of the patient. The patient is insane. The patient doesn't know what they're talking about. So they treated me like I was crazy, basically, when they heard my symptoms. Finally, a holistic doctor was a DO, but he was holistic. He believed me and gave me an antibiotic, and I recovered. He was the only one who was willing to prescribe me an antibiotic, and I recovered. And was anthrax. Don't have proof it was anthrax, but all the symptoms fit anthrax. I caught it from some dolphins that splashed me at an amusement park. Two of the 4 dolphins died that had splashed me, and it was anthrax for sure. They kept it mum what was wrong with the dolphins. They wouldn't tell anyone, but it was anthrax. Then during Uranus and Aquarius, I lost my place to live. We lost the house. It wasn't really my house, but it was a place where I lived, and we lost the house. And I lost a lot of my belongings that were in that house. They all got thrown out. So that was another thing that happened. It was a very traumatic time. Then I had some bad jobs, and I became homeless. I became homeless after I had suffered horrible discrimination. It's horrible, the most awful discrimination you can think of. Then I became homeless, and I was homeless for at least 1 year. Then after I was homeless, then Uranus entered Pisces. And when Uranus entered Pisces, I became mentally ill. Then after Uranus entered Pisces, I went back into Aquarius for a little while, and I was still mentally ill. And because it didn't go away once I became mentally ill. It was when Uranus entered Pisces. And then I went into Pisces. I was mentally ill the whole time Uranus was in Pisces. When Uranus entered Aries, I had a chance. And it corresponded with my birth chart too, the timing. I had a chance to become well, but I didn't take it. I wallowed in it for another 5 years. And I don't know if you can understand that. And then for another 5 years, I've been treated for my mental illness, and I've been okay. But Uranus entered Taurus. When Uranus entered Taurus, it brought us coronavirus, riots, and Biden. And Biden benefited from Uranus and Taurus. So there may actually be something to this. There might actually be something to astrology, possibly. It seems like that when Uranus entered Taurus, everything got turned upside down. People started getting sick. People started rioting. People were wearing masks everywhere they went. It was mass pandemonium. It was mass chaos. And that was Uranus and Taurus. Soon Uranus will enter Gemini. And I just wanted to let you know that the three most disruptive signs in the zodiac are Scorpio, Aquarius, and Pisces. And if you are a Scorpio, an Aquarius, or a Pisces sun sign, I've got nothing against you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. And you can be any sign you want to. I've got nothing against you. Really, I don't. Has nothing to do with you personally necessarily, because that's just when you were born. That's just when you were born, and you can't help it. But it's interesting how astrology affects world events and the times we live in. That's what's really interesting, not necessarily birth charts that are frozen in time forever, a slice of life that's frozen forever from the time you were born. That's not as interesting or significant as the events that are taking place during these times. And we've had Pluto and Scorpio. The millennials were born during Pluto and Scorpio. And Pluto and Scorpio was a time, late 80s, early 90s. You can figure out what happened really quickly during Pluto and Scorpio. We had rap music, We had grunge and alternative music emerge as a strong force. And also, we had the fall of the Berlin Wall. So those were all, and the end of the Cold War. So those were all significant things that happened during Pluto and Scorpio. Pluto and Scorpio was actually a great liberator. And Pluto and Scorpio was actually, even though there's a lot of sex and death, was actually quite awesome. It was quite awesome. Pluto and Scorpio was cool. It was cool. But Pluto is an incredibly powerful planet. And causes the most disruption and the most changes of all the planets is Pluto. And you wouldn't think so because it's almost like it's half the size of the moon. It's a little thing. You wouldn't think it was so significant. It's just like a rock in space. That's why they don't even classify Pluto as a planet anymore. It's a dwarf planet. It's a dwarf. But it's got the planetary shape, right? That makes it more significant that it's got a planetary shape. And so this Pluto can cause a lot of disruption, but Uranus and Neptune can cause a lot of disruption too. Now here's what's going to happen, folks. This Pluto is the most disruptive of all, okay? It's the big cheese is Pluto because its orbit lasts the longest. And Pluto, we know that Pluto and Scorpio may have brought the fall of the Berlin Wall. Right now we're in Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn was during the very beginning. It was the time of Obama. Pluto and Capricorn brought us Obama, all right? Then Pluto and Capricorn brought us Trump. Now Pluto and Capricorn is bringing us Biden. So it encircled 3 presidents. Obama, and it was right at the beginning of Obama's campaign that Pluto and Capricorn came around. It was right at the beginning of Obama's campaign. So Obama, our first black president, then Trump. And Trump is the stereotypical Pluto and Capricorn, right? Pluto, the planet of disruption, the planet of good versus evil, the planet of revolution, the planet of deception and evil, like the Decepticons. There's an evil side to Pluto. Pluto has a dark side. Remember, he's the god of the underworld. So this Pluto that's so disruptive, so devious and naughty, is in the sign of Capricorn, Mr. Finance, right? Mr. Conservatism, finance, the economy. All of those were issues during Pluto and Capricorn, and now we have Biden, but Pluto and Capricorn will make one last hurrah. It'll have one last appearance. And this last appearance will be through, let's see, I've got my notes here. Yeah, it's going to be through January of 2024. And then we are going to enter Pluto in Aquarius. And Pluto in Aquarius will be the true beginning of the age of Aquarius. Yes, I mean, you think Uranus and Aquarius is the true beginning of the age of Aquarius, but no. The age of Aquarius will begin with Pluto in Aquarius. So we're talking age of Aquarius here. But what kind of age of Aquarius? What will it be like? Well, considering that I became homeless, that I became mentally ill, that I was extremely sick, and that I also lost all of my belongings in my house. Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the planet of power, okay? And Aquarius is the sign of total disruption. Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a time of total disruption. Total disruption, total chaos. Just every kind of form of chaos and disruption you can imagine. What are the dates for this Pluto in Aquarius? Well, like I said, it's going to begin January of 2024. It's going to last until 2044. So 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius, at least. At least. There might be some more at the end, because the planets move back and forth and they switch in and out of signs at the tail end. So Pluto in Aquarius till 2024. And what is this? 2044, until 2044, beginning in 2024. And 2024 is an election year. 2025, as I have mentioned before, 2025 is 45 squared, which has numerological significance for certain individuals. Certain individuals believe in numerology, and they believe that 45 squared, or 2025, which is when the new president begins his term, has intense significance, esoteric significance, occult significance. And I know some of you are opposed to the occult and you don't believe in the occult, and that's fine, but because it's meaningful to certain people, there's certain individuals that would stop at nothing to see this something happen. They'd stop at nothing to make something happen. Who would be most likely to want to see something happen in 45 squared, which is 2025? Obviously Freemasons, because 45 is their number. 45 is the foundational number for their whole temple of temple dedicated to whomever they worship. So and some people say that's Satan, but we don't know because it's all a secret, right? But it's sort of an open secret because there's some former members that came forward and they told us it was Satan. The 45 is a significant number to them. Numerologically, 45 has huge significance to them. And 45, 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 is the number of war and also of man. So man and warfare, right? Another interesting thing, you can take the number 666. 6 is the number of a woman, because it's the 9 reversed. It's the 9 upside down. So the 6, it looks like a pregnant woman's belly. So 6 is the number of a woman. 3 sixes is a triple goddess. And triple goddess has been demonized because that's supposedly the number of Satan, but it's actually triple goddess that's been demonized. You add 6 plus 6 plus 6, you get 18, and 1 plus 8 is 9. So it's the 666 is also the number of warfare and the number of a man. And it kind of makes sense because the triple goddess gave birth to mankind, right? Makes sense. So what does all this numerological significance have to do with us? Well, this year 2025 comes right after 2024, so it comes during the age of Pluto in Aquarius, the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And not only is it at the very beginning of the age of Aquarius, but also 2024 is the year. 2024, you should know this, is the year that the age of fire begins. The age of fire comes to us from the Chinese. Okay, it's East meets West. 2024 has significance in the East, and 2024 has significance in the West. The East gives us a little hint of what we can expect in this new age, because the East believes it's the age of fire that's beginning. And in the cycle of the elements, fire nourishes the earth. Because fire burns wood and it burns everything organic, turns it into ashes, which is earth. And the ashes are actually quite nice for fertilizing the earth. You can use ash as fertilizer. So fire creates earth. Fire nourishes earth and creates it. Okay, so the two things that you're going to watch for in the age of the fire are fire and earth. Those are the elements that are going to be pertinent. Anything you can think of that has to do with fire will be the energy of that age, beginning in 2424. When does it last till? 2044. 2024 to 2044, the same as the cycle of Pluto and Aquarius. So that it's east meets west, east and west agree that something is definitely going down in 2024 and for the next 20 years thereafter. Could be a global thermonuclear war, because it's the age of fire, right? So, and what's more fireball-like than an atomic explosion? That's the element of fire. Actually, it's another element. It's the element of plasma. But that's neither here nor there, because the elements are very much like states of matter. They're not really elements. They're not elements like in science. They're more like states of matter, okay? And one of the states of matter is liquid. That would be water. One of the states of matter is solid. That would be earth. One of the states of matter is gas. That would be air. One of the states of matter is, well, fire isn't considered a state of matter, but there's plasma, which is very much like fire, or it could be also thought of as spirit. And the Chinese have 5 elements. The 5th element is the organic, the living. So, like a tree, a plant life, that's an element. But it could also be animals too, because animals are also living things. And that would also include funguses, mushrooms. Anything that's alive is a 5th element to the Chinese. So, why am I telling you this? Well, I can say so long to my sanity. I'm expecting great things from the age of Pluto in Aquarius, the age of fire. I'm expecting to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my marbles, folks. I'm just hoping it won't be too bad. I'm just hoping it won't be too bad for me. That's all I can hope. And I'm going to be pretty old when that age is over. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be such an old person. But it'll be a long while. It'll be a long while that we'll be in this age. 20 years, that's a long time. How many administrations? We'll go through 5 presidential administrations at the maximum. And the minimum will have at least 3. So, it's going to be the age of fire. I'm really scared of the age of fire, and I'm scared of Pluto in Aquarius, much more so than I am of Pluto in Scorpio, because Pluto in Scorpio, even though it was quite revolutionary, it was all for the good, right? And Pluto in Scorpio, Pluto was in its, I can't remember what they call it. I think it's called dignity. Pluto was in its dignity in Scorpio, because that's its sign, right? So Pluto in Scorpio would be a force for good. Even if it was quite disruptive, it was a force for good and change in the world. Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is square Scorpio, so it's going to be, Pluto will be in its detriment in Aquarius. So it's not going to be pretty, folks. And Uranus in Aquarius, you would think Uranus in Aquarius would be great, right? Uranus in Aquarius brought us the World Trade Center collapsing in 9/11 and the war that followed that lasted many, many years. So, Uranus and Aquarius, everybody was like, oh yay, this is the age of Aquarius. Uranus and Aquarius, it's in its own sign. It's supposedly in its dignity, right? But it was very undignified. Unlike Pluto and Scorpio that brought us good things, Uranus and Aquarius brought us bad things. So Pluto and Aquarius is not going to bring us good things. And it's going to be the beginning of the Age of Fire. And at the very beginning of the Age of Fire, we're going to have 45 squared, which is 2025, which is 45 is the number of war. It's a number of warfare. Numerologically, it's supposed to be a positive number, but it's going to be it's a number of war. And there's some people who will stop at nothing to see that we get into a war in 2025. So 2024 and 2025 are years to watch. Years to watch. And it could be Trump could make a comeback. Why do I think that Trump might make a comeback? Well, because it's going to be upheaval and disruption, right? Upheaval and disruption. Although supposedly Trump is friends with Vladimir Putin, and he isn't friends with China. China doesn't like him at all, but as long as he can keep us out of a war with Russia, it would be okay. But who knows if we even can stay out of a war with Russia if China attacks us. And Biden's not doing so hot. He's criticized Putin, and Putin's updating all of his nukes. And China is mistrustful of him right now. China doesn't trust him because he's being forced. He's being forced by a bipartisan effort to re-examine China and re-examine whether it's a danger to us. So he's not making friends with either one of them. Biden is really pushing China and Russia closer together, which is bad for us. And something's going to happen in 2024. That's an election year. Something's going to happen. It's the very beginning of Pluto and Aquarius, and it's the very beginning of an election year. It's the very beginning of the Age of Fire, when East meets West. And it's the year before 2025, which is 45 squared, which is the number of warfare and of man. So all of these things come together at once. And I can't ignore it. I can't ignore all these things. Even if I don't believe in astrology, even if you don't believe in astrology, you can't ignore it. Your Creator is sending you a clarion call that something's about to happen that's very significant. And you could say, I don't believe in that. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. I don't believe in that. Well, look at the past 50 years or so, and look at all the things that have happened in the past 50 years. You just chalk that up to coincidence? I don't think so. I don't think so. So maybe the Creator communicates with us through these world events and lets us know something significant is about to go down. Yeah, I'm going to have personal battle with my mental illness. That will happen for sure because of the influence of Aquarius acting through Pluto. And for sure I'm going to have maybe possibly financial difficulties of some sort. I don't know what Pluto and Aquarius will bring. All I know is that I want to be on the right side of history when it does happen. And I do know that what Trump did with the Capitol riots was wrong. It was wrong. I can understand the motivation of the people who rioted at the Capitol because they were upset. They were very upset about the riots that happened in the cities. The liberal riots, the liberal rioters. They were very upset, and they wanted to get even, and they blamed Congress for all of their problems. They especially blamed liberals for their problems. So that's why they rioted. But Trump, what his part in it was dastardly, because all those people got arrested, right? He led them down the garden path into and he's just a tool. Trump is just a tool. He may seem like he's a good guy, and he may seem like he's on your side, and it may seem like he really wanted a coup, but he's just a tool of the establishment. They wouldn't have put him in a high position of power unless he was a tool. He was leading the lambs astray. He led the little lambs astray, and he led them to be arrested, put in solitary, tried and convicted. Well, he comes out smelling like a bed of roses and doesn't get prosecuted for what he said, doesn't get prosecuted for misleading people and blatantly lying and getting them all stirred up, doesn't get prosecuted for any of it. Gets off easy. See, none of these guys are good guys. You may think, well, you're a conservative because you don't like Biden. I don't like Trump either. I don't like either one of them. They're both bad guys. And they're both tools of the establishment. One thing that's going to happen during the age of Pluto and Aquarius, and I'm almost certain of this, sometime in 20 years of Pluto and Aquarius, we will see the emergence of a third and fourth political party. And the political parties we have now are just going to disintegrate. They're going to crumble, and they won't go away, but they will have a lot less power, a lot less clout, and a lot less influence. People will move toward these new parties away from the old parties because they'll be sick. They'll just want to shed their shells. And we'll have like 3 or 4 different political parties in the future. It's already begun. There's a rift in the Republican Party created just by Trump. Just by a person, not by ideology, not by ideas, just by the Trump's existence. And that rift is going to last for a while. It could last 20 years or more, and it could be enough to create a new political party. And on the Democratic side, that hasn't happened yet. Right now, the Dems and the liberals present a unified front. But how long can that last? Because there's going to be some moderate Democrats that are either going to shift right or they're going to call out. The moderate Democrats will call out the liberal Democrats and the movement of the party to the far left, and they're going to say, this doesn't represent what we want. We're moderates. And they're going to join the Independence Party. The Independence Party is going to become a major party. And a lot of moderates are going to join the Independence Party. It'll occupy the middle. It'll become a major force. Well, we had Ross Perot, right? So the Independence Party is capable of making a dent. But it's going to be almost overwhelmingly people moving toward this Independence Party. Then we're going to have 3 political parties, and there may be a 4th one. The Green Party might be the 4th one, because the ultra-liberal aren't satisfied with what the Dems are doing. So they're going to move toward the Green Party. So the Green Party and the Independence Party might emerge as major forces. Also, the Libertarian Party might be a 5th party that becomes a major force. Although people don't like the Libertarians very much. There's certain things about Libertarians they don't like. Like, they don't like sexual freedom of freedom to commit incest. They don't like pornography that libertarians support, and they think libertarians are basically pedos. Okay, so that's a real detriment to the Libertarian Party. But if they can ditch that as one of their policies, and also ditch the open borders policy, I think a lot of people would move toward libertarianism if it weren't for those things. So that's it. Watch out. Beware of Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Capricorn has been pretty good to us. Hasn't been too bad, even though we had coronavirus. But Pluto in Aquarius, boy, I'm telling you, that's the age of fire. And we could be headed toward a nuclear war. We have to cross our fingers and hope that humanity, or maybe knock on wood, hope that humanity does not take us into a nuclear war in the age to come. And I'll see you next time.